Well, listen, folks, I'm excited about this young lady. She did a great job last week. She's a mother. She's a wife of 2 children. She's a community leader. She did a call on February the 12th this year that was stunning to me, and I took a lot of notes on it. And it stop making excuses and start doing the work. And man, that's just February this whole week. So with that said, can we give a real round of applause to none other than Miss Heather Peery?
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for this call. Thank you for your leadership and everyone that has to do with the call. We are so grateful. I'm kind of going along with your theme of just short and powerful. And that's what today, I pray is going to be short and powerful. So the first Monday that I did, we talked about perspective, about just not comparing yourself to others, comparing about how long it's taking or just your abilities, just doing the work and giving yourself time. And then last week was the stories about the first 16 points and just about the posture to have, the hard things that we go through sometimes when it's not a red apple, yes, right away, the posture you have to have, and then the simplicity of just the system, and then letting people know how important this is to you, right? And today, the subject today is really near and dear to my heart, and we, maybe in a really close leadership, you would hear about this, but we could always hear this more and more, and just about how money, power, and influence, and how those three things magnify who you are. And I thought this was so perfect for this leadership call because everyone on this call, including myself, we're all developing leaders. And I thought it was so important to talk about how money, power, and influence magnifies who we are, because we're in this business. We're in here to be better people. To some of us on here definitely want to make more money, and we want to be that, whoever you look up to, if it's Mr. Al Thomas or any of our leaders, you're like, I want that money. And maybe some of us on the call, because I don't know everyone on this call, maybe you want more power and influence, influence to do good things, influence for whatever it is. But I was watching this documentary last night, and it really hit me because this person that we're watching, and this applies to us too, ladies. So when I'm talking about this person, this man, and what we get into the story, think about us too, because this goes for us too. This man, he had the look, the charm, the clothing style, the family, the wife, definitely had the influence. And it was a good influence too. If we're looking on the outside, this is a good influence for doing good. It was a loving influence, a caring influence, fun, what seemed to be full of integrity and honesty, until what was truly inside him, until what he continued to push down and hide and ignore, came out in adultery. And we've talked about getting to the root of things in a previous, talk that I've had with you guys. And he had adultery. He was with another woman other than his wife. And he's talking about this and the effects of this. And you could see how painful it was. But he is a leader, and he's a good leader. And he spoke well, and he met people with such charisma, just one-on-one regular people. He had the influence of celebrities and regular people. And when you met him, people would say things like they just felt so special when they would talk to him. Just meeting him outside, not on a stage, but just meeting him, I felt so special. And then when everything came crashing down with that adultery, his amazing life, and it looks amazing because he had money, he had the power, he had the influence, looked super fun. He could go out with whoever he needed to go out with. It all crashed and burned with these consequences. And, it came out to say that he had some things happen to him in his childhood of sexual abuse that, he knew these things, but he ignored them, kept pushing off, and just kept moving forward. And, the consequences of this adultery, those consequences were just not him. It reached his wife. He could barely talk about how it affected her, because he's remembering the look, the sound of her cry when he told her and had to be out with it. Because this was a very public adultery, like news, everything. His children, one of them, it was so traumatic to one of their children. One of their children, tried to take their life. And the people he led now, it affected them. They're disillusioned. They have probably a little bit harder time trusting now in this certain area. They feel tricked and betrayed. And I say all of this because, like I said before, we are all developing leaders on this call. And it is so important, not just important, it's my responsibility and it's your responsibility. If you say you're on this call and you want to be a leader and you want to lead a team, or you lead a family, or you lead a team of people at work, or you lead a team of volunteers, or you lead one person, or you lead two people, it is so important. It's not important. It's our responsibility to be the real deal from the inside out. Because this guy, and remember, ladies, this applies to us too, because we're powerful and we can get the influence and we can be on the stage and we can have the money and we can have all of that too, right? If we don't get what's inside, if we're not up and real with it and we don't dig that out, it will come out. And I was watching this last night and I was just like, man, like this is a very likable person. All of us on this call, we'd be like, that guy's cool. I like how he dresses. I like how he talks, all that. And I was just kind of thinking of our business. And in our business, we watch people we learn from people that speak well. And we aspire to speak well too. We listen to people that look good, right? We have a lot of different leaders. They look good. Some of them dress real good. They look real nice. They have their swagger, right? They look good. And some of us aspire to look good and speak well, or we just admire that about them. Wow, I want to talk like that. I want to look like that, right? And then a lot of the people we learn with, what do they have? They have money, right? They have money. And some of us aspire to have that money and do that travel, right? And have that life. And we look at all that and we're like, we're aspiring to that. We want that. But like, are we looking really at, behind that stuff? Because everyone was watching this guy, and ladies, it could be us too. They're watching this guy and nobody's thinking about behind that. I wonder if his family life is doing good. I wonder what kind of husband he is. I wonder what kind of friend he is. I wonder if he's truly trustworthy. I'm just seeing what's in front of me, but I wonder what he's really like on the inside. Is that the real person, I'm seeing? Is that the real, does he really have, the character? I mean, he had the influence. And do people we learn from our leadership, do they have influence? Yeah. Influence over us that we learn from them, influence outside of ACN. And do they have power? Sure. This guy had power in where he worked, his social circles. Our leaders, they have power in their social circles, their teams. Outside of ACN, they own businesses and do other things, right? So it just really kept me as wisdom is so important for us leaders, and also not just wisdom, but to, like I said, to be the real deal from the inside out. As we're developing leaders, we need to be so careful about wanting that power, that influence, and that money, because it just magnifies who we already are. So if who you are right now, you got the money, you got the power, and you got the influence, what would come out? Something to ask yourself. What would come out, ladies? If you had all the power and all the influence and all the money right now, what would come out of you? It just magnifies us who we are at this current state right now. Men, what would that do for you? If you had all the money and all the power and all the influence right now, what comes out of you? This guy crashed and burned because he's too busy ignoring the things that needed to be taken care of so badly, and it came out on the most biggest platform and the biggest stage. So I just want to encourage us as up and coming leaders, whatever you have, if you're still ignoring that thing and think that we can cover it up with, with looking good and what we put on and how we put on our mask of when we're going to go socialize with people. We go to events and we put on our event mask and hey, but there's work to be done behind the scenes, right? Because the more money, the more power, the more influence, more is required of us. So sometimes I kind of think, well, don't be too quick to want to get all that money and all that power and influence, because what comes with it? And am I ready to lead? Am I ready to take on all that comes with it, right? So I got this book out, and some of you might have heard of it. It's called Wisdom by Terry Allen, and it's actually one of the comments is from our president and co-founder, Mr. Greg Provenzano, is on the back with a comment on there. He says, wisdom should be at the top of your reading list. Greg Provenzano, president and co-founder of ACN Inc. So he's back here. And so I'm just going to read a couple things from Wisdom, and I'm going to wrap it up, because you need to get this book because it goes into detail of so many different subjects. And I'm just going to read real quick a couple of principles and life lessons that seem so like basic, but these things, they take us down when we're in leadership positions, when we get full of ourselves, when we think, oh, we're the leader, or maybe we're like, hey, we can't show weakness, we can't show we struggle with anything because I'm the leader. We just haven't developed yet because we just haven't come forth with the stuff we gotta, come to terms with. And that's so huge as a leader, because to lead without fear and to lead actually genuinely is so powerful. Clears your mind, clears your heart. You're able to work with so many other people because you're not trying to keep up this mask, this thing, this fake power, this fake leadership. And we see that so much, right? So much. And people could tell. So just a couple of things, I'm gonna wrap it up. So remember, it's called Wisdom by Terry Allen. Either get it on Audible, or if you like to read the hardcover, read it. It's excellent. Okay, so principles and life lessons, the nature of wisdom. Wisdom is available to everyone. You can choose to be wise. You must be teachable. Humble yourself and be willing to learn. You must listen. Learn to listen and practice becoming a good listener. You must seek wisdom. Seeking wisdom means learning to apply it and practice, practice, practice. The power of words. Words are the most powerful tool in your life. Recognize the power of words and choose your words carefully. Guard your words. Don't talk too much. Gossip destroys people. Don't gossip. This subheading, relationships, family, and sex. Guard your affections. Be careful to whom you give your heart. Stay away from fools. Be selective with whom you spend your time and in whom you place your trust. Don't commit adultery. Take the necessary steps to protect your marriage and your sexual purity. Discipline your children. Make the discipline of your children a priority. Learn to control your temper. If you have a bad temper, make it an immediate priority to seek help to adopt the skills needed to manage your anger. Respect the opinions of others. Learn to guard your reaction to other people's opinion. Live in community. Purposefully place yourself in close relationship with others. Live on a budget. Develop a personal household budget and stick to it. Persistent hard work will pay off. Work diligently and save diligently. Here's a good one. Laziness will result in poverty and debt. Learn to embrace work, labor, and inconvenience so they can equip you for success. That's a different way of looking at it, right? Learn to embrace work, labor, and inconvenience so they can equip you for success. Dishonest business practices do not bring lasting success. Apply honesty and integrity to your business. Your reputation is more valuable than your possessions. Protect your reputation by living consistently. And then there is no shortcut to wealth. Establish a financial strategy based on reasonable expectations, not through presumption or schemes that require no time, effort, or money, or that rely on chance. That's just those are highlights from the book. There's more, but those are some of the highlights. And they're so juicy and rich in what makes a real leader. So I just wanted it's encouragement to continue to keep going with our personal growth. It's encouragement, and I guess it'd be a reality check for all of us to, when we see our leadership or we see someone that we aspire to be, to whoa now, halt, because the power, the money, and the influence already magnifies us who we are. So I'm encouraging everyone on this call to continue with that personal growth, continue with those things inside that you just quite haven't touched on yet, to heal up, to bring out, so that you can be that 360-degree leader, because you've dealt with all those things. There's no more secrets. There's nothing to hide. This guy that was talking, he said he made a pattern of just keeping secrets. After what happened to him as a child, he would just keep secrets for no reason. And it just developed a pattern in his life, and on we go. But that was because of what happened way back there and how it magnified in his life now. So if you take time to reflect, what have you gone through earlier in life that caused patterns that aren't the healthiest that you just do now? Track that back? Where did that start? So being a leader, yes, it's amazing. It looks amazing. Yes, you get influence, and it's so neat to see how, wow, we can have influence over people and make a difference and make a change and make good things happen. And that looks awesome. And that is awesome. And good things do happen from that. But it does take the internal work to truly, truly get there, and to be able to lead truly effectively and genuinely, without something like this, like that documentary I was watching everything crash down because we just didn't take the time, right, to do the growth inside that leaders have to do, men and women, for them to be that solid leader that people can truly follow and then teach others, right? Because we are so needing leadership in our world today, right? And just in our communities, everything. So with that, thank you guys for these last 3 Mondays. And I just want to encourage you in that, and just take time to reflect. But have a great week, everybody. And love you all. Happy Monday.